Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and I'm going to be taking a look at a role-playing game. Big surprise. It's called Rōnin. It is compatible with Merkborg. And let's take a look and see what it says here. It says, the air in Kaji no Shima is thick with the stench of blood and the promise of violence. It is a world where factions war upon scraps, and the only honor to be found is in the sharpened edge of a blade. A land where the line between life and death is blurred, where the spirits of the dead walk with the living, and where the eclipse casts a shadow over all. The sake is on us, but the survival is up to you. So, what do I think about this book? I think it's fantastic. Physically, it is great. All this is all raised up. You can feel that. It's got some really nice just feel and extras with it, the way it is presented here. This game came out a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. There's the spine there. This is kind of like it's kind of goes down like this skeletal dude here. It just feels nice. There's a lot of real love went into making this thing just present very well. It's got a bookmark ribbon, and we've got our end papers here, as you can see, that has our information on it that we need. So once again, we're keeping that because that's proven to be very helpful. We've got name generation. That's going to be very helpful because if you don't know, this is going to be obviously a feudal Japan world, alternate world. It's not really Japan, but and it's got something going on with it. Pretty nasty, of course. It is a Merkborg compatible game, so you're going to expect that. So we've got names. That's very helpful. First, last, and nicknames. We've got debilitating injuries here. Shrines that are very neat. When you pray at a shrine, test spirit DR12. Effects last until the end of the day. And you can get like +1 to vigor tests. Or if you fail, you get -1 to vigor tests. So these are going to be cool, kind of push your luck type things. Maybe you gain the power to understand and speak to snakes at the Shrine of the Serpent. So just some really cool things here. There's 12 of those. That's neat. We got treasures, weather, the Shogun's demands. Here's some encounters. Corpse plundering. It's a D66 there, and then some traps. And some of the encounters are pretty neat. It says you find a hidden shrine. Inside is an ancient artifact guarded by a powerful guardian. Roll for combat. Or you find yourself in a dark and eerie graveyard. Roll for a trap. Someone has trapped that graveyard. That's interesting. So it says that it's dealing with some ritual suicide stuff, seppuku. So in case that might be disturbing to readers. Overall, I'm going to say that the presentation, the layout, and everything in this book is top shelf. There are just a couple of fonts that were a little goofball on some of the headers and stuff like that. And I had just some slight difficulty, but overall, I really like the font that's used. I really like the way the layout is. I like the way it changes up page to page or sometimes on the same page. And so we have a world where an eclipse took hold and everybody said, wow, that's amazing. This is crazy. Let's do some prayers and we're going to have a bunch of festivals. It's a divine spectacle, but then weeks turned into an endless cycle. The novelty waned to despair. The celestial event, once celebrated, now hung over them, a specter refusing to depart, its dark veil, an unending curse. So, it's not great. So you have a world where you have a constant eclipse. And of course now creatures have appeared, demons, and the dead haunt its every corner, and the blood flows as freely as the sake. So the warriors that roam this cursed land, they're not fighting for honor or redemption. They're fighting for survival, for the chance to live another day in this godforsaken place. So if I was to just sum it up in one kind of sentence, it would probably be like alternate feudal Japan, post-apocalyptic feudal Japan. That's what I would say, with monsters and stuff, in my roundabout way of saying it. So it's going to tell you about this endless shadow and what's going on. And I'll say that the writing is very good. It flows well. It's very fitting for the subject matter and the game. It does a really good job at just the way that some words go together. And I'll just read here. It says, the eerie light grants little favor to the fields below, where crops stretch skeletal limbs towards the sun they remember but no longer feel. So just that one sentence, I just happened to look and read it, didn't even know what was coming up. And it's just great. The harvests are meager, eked out from the earth by hands that mimic the stubborn defiance of the flora they tend. So it's very flowery. It's very well done. It's not too pompous or pretentious. It's really, really good. So it's going to tell us more about everything here. The island of Kachinoshima. And that's one thing I want to say too, is if you have difficulty with maybe in just not just this game, but other games with, maybe a language or something that's derived from a language you don't understand or don't know, just go with it. Just give it a shot. I do like this map. This map is good. I find a lot of compatible with Merkborg maps to be just like really bad modern art trash. You can't even make out what they are almost at all, but this is a good map, and I really enjoy it. I can actually read the places that they are. It looks like a place. That's helpful. And it's going to break down each of the areas, and they are very neat. The Imperial Palace is kind of a cursed place. The Shogun himself resides within its walls, his power growing with each day. It says that the air is thick with the scent of death, and the sound of wind through the broken walls is like the whispering of the dead. You've got the Rōnin quarter. You've got the floating market, which is pretty cool. You've got a whole bunch of boats, I take it, that are all together, where a lot of things can be found. But it says it's a place where secrets are traded and fortunes are won and lost in a single breath. One thing I like about it, when I'm looking at these books, is I do look at like there is a kind of a method to the madness. When you see stuff that's maybe in bold or different, a lot of these creators know what they're doing, and they're trying to point you to certain things to help you understand the game better. And I'm going to explain that when I get to the adventure that's in the back. We have the Monastery of the Iron Fist. These guys are going to kick your butt. That's all there is to it. The Hidden Village of the Shinobi is going to be great, of course. You've got to, if you like your ninja action there. The Dojo of the Swords is going to teach you to become the greatest swordsman. That's cool. The Fortress of the Oni, don't go there. There's a bunch of bad things there. Port of the Dead, don't go there either. There's a lot of dead things. It says the port was once a beacon of trade and commerce, but the darkness that now shrouds the island has transformed it into a place of death and decay. That's not great. Gambler's Pit, that's going to be, I like this piece of art here. And like I said, just right here, we've got this one piece, we've got these 2 pages, and we've got different style, kind of different style with art, color, and everything. It's really well done. We're going to know more about the Shogun here, and he has a elite group of samurai nobles, and how they have dominance over the people that are still around. The Ronin Brotherhood here, great. I just love the way that looks. The white slashes across their face. It's a ragtag group of warriors, each with their own code and sense of honor, coming together out of necessity. And they have made an oath to fight against the corruption that plagues their land. Here's the Shadow Clan. Of course, they're very powerful. They use their skills to gather information, sabotage their enemies, and eliminate those who threaten the clan. They blend in with their surroundings like shadows in the night. So like right here, if you just read that, you get a good sense of what this is right here. And that's where this book really does a good job at not expressly like showing you, boom, this is all you need to know, but this is if you need to just do a really quick look, if you're need a refresher or whatever, it's going to be there for you. Here's telling you more about those Iron Monks, and this is going to be our Merkborg Death of the World thing here. So we're going to have the black calendar, and it's going to be very much the same. Our different die types, if we want it to be years or seasons or months. And then different things are going to happen, obviously, to the world until the 7th woe will always be 7-7, and the world will finally die. The 7th seal is broken for the 7th and final time. And so you've got stuff like here, like lanterns flicker erratically. Some see omens, others foresee darker days, or the sky briefly brightens, mimicking daylight. The harsh light makes many blind or mad. Or will-o'-the-wisps lead many astray. Those who follow are lost or forever cursed. So we've got a lot of these things that are going to happen to the world, if you know well about Merkborg. So we've got our creating our character stuff here, some optional rules. We've got swiftness, spirit, vigor, and resilience. And we're also going to have honor. We're going to roll 3d6 to create our honor. And honor is going to play, obviously, a big part in this game. It can be gained or lost through a character's actions. It affects how, of course, NPCs react to the character, and it can also grant you some benefits or penalties. And the GM is going to determine when honor is gained or lost, and it's usually going to be based off like a die. They're going to say like a D2 or something, D4. Honor below 10 is considered to be dishonorable, and honor equal to or greater than 10 is considered to be honorable. Again, plays a big role in this game. fantastic art in the background. This book is laid out, I believe, almost perfectly for what it's trying to do. Some of the names of these character classes are a little bit different. We've got the Forgotten Ronin here. They'll roll a little bit different, obviously, for certain type of stats. And then you're going to just roll a d6 or choose one feature. It's going to tell you about them, obviously, here, and what stuff they may have with them, weapons and gear and whatnot. So various abilities that a Ronin would have, be it a sword master or being a protector or having a haunted blade. Some things can happen per encounter, some per day, making you stronger. Like right here, masterless. If the Forgotten Ronin's honor score is below 10, they may parry at DR 12, which is better. So just some cool stuff like that. Here we have a samurai that is more scholarly, and they can do like a precise strike. They have philosophy of war. They have a Zen focus. And again, I just really enjoy the way this is laid out. Each page you turn to it, and it's just a different style that really works with it. Different types of fighting styles and stuff you could do with this drunken monk. You can have brass knuckles that catch on fire with the flame fist ability. Very cool there. And it's, of course, going to tell you more about them. We've got the corrupted shinobi, which a lot of people, of course, will enjoy playing. They're not super overpowered, but they are very cool. They deal with poison and shadows, smoke screens, and sidestepping in the shadows. It's very cool stuff, obviously. And then this right here is one of the, I'm not sure exactly how to say this. It's Oni... Onmyoji, I believe it's called, and it says their powers is to bend the very fabric of reality to their will. They are feared and shunned with their talk of dead spirits and otherworldly beings. So more of a mystical type of character right here. And some of these fonts sometimes will kind of do me in. I'll be honest with you. You have to kind of look at it a little bit differently. Here's the Bakuto, is a crafty sword. This is your face character. It says they are a crafty sword with a loaded dice and a silver tongue. They'll charm you with their words and bleed you dry with their cards. Again, various abilities here, dirty tricks, sleight of hand. They can do some stuff in combat as well. That's one thing. None of these classes are ever out of commission when it comes to combat. The Yamabuchi right here, the Yamabuchi are... it says you aren't a run-of-the-mill warrior. They are a solitary bunch, cut from a different cloth, steeped in the quiet whispers of mountain trails and fog-shrouded peaks. They are more about kind of the world, a spiritual type of fighter here, and the raw poetry of the earth itself. They pull power from the heart of the world, and there's nothing more potent than that. Healers, exorcists, drinkers of the divine. So... interesting character right there. I like that. I like the way this looks. All of a sudden it changes up. You've got this wild dancer. They use a pistol and their weapon in a sword dance, as you can see here. Dancing defense, two weapon fighting. They are just a wild kind of whirling dervish of gunplay and sword slashes. Very cool. Here we have the Reckless Sumo. Obviously a big tough guy with a lot of physical traits here. It says that he's no Prince Charming, but a boulder among pebbles, stubborn and solid, carved out of raw muscle and grit. So it says that they've got different type of like this belly bump attack, ring out. You can push people out of the combat zone. You can slam them. Very nice. Then we have the Sword Saint. It's not just a fencer, but pretty much these are just the masters of duelers. They have a blade that dances elegantly and strikes with deadly precision. And so they have some cool abilities here, but they also are very good at dueling. That should make sense, obviously. They're going to have our rules for honor, okay? And then each one of them is going to have kind of, you can see a different type, like the Ronin's Creed, the Bushido, and it's going to be kind of things that it's going to let you know exactly what that is about, like the noble truths, like simplicity and harmony, compassion. Show compassion and mercy to all, even enemies. So this is based off each of those character classes. You can kind of see how it's laid out. The Dancer's Code, Yamabushi's Path, the Sumo's Oath, showing you how they have to kind of live their lives to have honor, and it shows you how if they don't do these things, it's dishonor. So this is going to be important for your characters and your players to understand that. And then you're going to start your journey of like your gear. You've got a different type of armor, obviously. I do like that they give you kind of two styles. Some of them just descriptively how they are. all the way up to heavy armor, of course. That's going to make it easier for you to get hit, but it's going to, it's obviously going to have better armor for you. Here's your weapons page, showing you where all these different weapons are in this bloody field here. So I like that. Then you've got texts, and these are going to be, powerful abilities. You'll be able to, each morning you'll roll spirit plus d4, revealing the number of times you may wield these mystical gifts. If you fumble, and I like this, just something that I didn't really catch on the first time, is you got this little dotted line here that goes, and it says, what's this? And then what is that? And it goes across here, and it goes to the next page to Kami's Vengeance. And this is when you fumble, something's going to happen to you. It says objects you touch immediately turn to dust, rendering them useless. That's number 5. Or your eyes bleed out and fall, yet your sight remains. It says wherever they lie. So that's pretty cool. It's just neat how that little design choice is pretty neat. But these powers are pretty neat. You can be unseen. You can have a whirling blade, a soothing breeze, heal d6 for yourself or an ally, thundering roar, stun an enemy. So obviously, powerful things. Speak with the departed. You can speak with 3 questions to a deceased creature. Blessings of the Gods is cool. Restore D10 hit points to D2 creatures. That's nice. Pure Insight. You find all traps in your path for 2d10 minutes. So just neat abilities. And then, of course, their downfalls here. And then we've got some great section here on equipment. We've got people you can hire out, different services, and I will say that this weapon, this game does have rules for eating and drinking, which I enjoy that, because I do see it as kind of like a post-apocalyptic game a little bit. It's not fully post-apocalyptic, but it's obviously this place is suffering through a lot of crap right now. And it looks very bleak for the future. So our different weapons, I like the little symbols for ranged or melee, plus ranged, how you repair armors down there. And then how we do tests, all pretty normal here. Again, about honor and how that works with your character. And then this is the interesting sections here. Committing seppuku for your character. It says when a character chooses to perform seppuku, they must first test Spirit DR12. They have to go through several things. They have to actually have the ability to do it, the drive to do it. Then they have to actually do it physically. They have to make the cut across their abdomen. They must make a test resilience DR14 to endure the pain. And then you're going to make your honor roll. So it's what happens if you fail, what happens if you're successful. And you can actually just do damage to yourself and give yourself debilitating injuries should you botch it. If you're successful, then you disembowel yourself and you die. So then you have your honor roll. This allows the character to roll 2d6 plus 2 and add the result to their honor. They must then go to Yami to fight to be resurrected or make a new character gaining the bonuses or negatives outlined in the honor section. So what happens is when you die, you get a chance to be resurrected right here. You go into this other world, in essence, this other kind of spirit world where you have to fight this Yami, and it's a demon, a spirit. And if you succeed, then you're resurrected. But you can only do this once. And if you're defeated, then obviously, should you fall, it says their fate is sealed forever. The warrior will never again walk on the path of life, and their story will come to a permanent end. So what you can do is you can come back to life, or if you were an honorable person, the next character you make, their stats are going to get +1 to their rolls. It says if the previous character had an honor score below 10, their new character gains -1 penalty when rolling for each ability. But if it's positive, if the player's previous character had an honor score of equal to or greater than 10, their new character gains +1 bonus when rolling for each ability. So you get like if it's 3d6 or whatever, say it was just 3d6 down the line, you're going to get 3d6 +1. So it says, additionally, if the player or players successfully defeat the demon, because more than one person can go and fight them at one time, the Yami, the character will have a scar from the battle. This gives the character a -1 penalty to an ability of their choosing, but it also grants a permanent +5 bonus to their honor. So this is just the neat thing about this game right here, the seppuku and the resurrection of your character and how it deals with honor and making your next character should you decide to kill yourself and you are an honorable person. You can go fight the Yami, come back, but if you're going to make another character, you're going to get that bonuses if you were honorable. I think it's just a really neat little rules here for it to make this game kind of special. It fits it, and it's a great section. It's something they really, they did a good job at putting that in the game. Here's your things just about hit points here. This is about how to do combat. You are going to have parry, which is going to be based off resilience. It says test resilience, defense DR +2. Okay, and so it's going to have rules here for parrying. Pretty much once per combat, the player may choose to parry an incoming attack instead of rolling for defense. To do this, they must test resilience against the defense DR of the incoming attack +2. So it's a harder test to do. If successful, they not only block the attack, but also do their weapon damage immediately. If the player rolls a critical hit on their parry, the counterattack deals double damage and reduces the enemy's armor tier by 1. So it's like you get it's a way for you to get a critical hit, in essence. Very cool. Here's rules for dueling, which is a big part of it, obviously, where you're going to attack and guard. And then you have section here on morale. And then you're going to get into, it says here, like if a PC kills or gravely insults an NPC, family member, friend, or master, they have created a blood feud. They can challenge, of course, the defending PC to a duel to the death. You can either accept or refuse the challenge. If they refuse, they are dishonored, and their honor is permanently reduced by 5. If they accept, only death or victory await. Winning grants 3 honor, and the loser is sent to Yami, or worse, death. Rules for rest. Now, meditation is cool. When we look at rest, let's not forget this here. I'd better not skip this. It says you consume 1 use of food or 1 use of water when you take like a short rest. Same thing when you take like a long rest. But if you go 2 days without food, you'll start losing D4 hit points per day. And if you're infected or poisoned, rest won't help. Instead, you'll lose D6 hit points per day. So I like that. I'm glad that there's rules in here for food and water. Now, meditation is neat. You can take a moment to meditate. A character can regain their focus and center themselves. So you must spend 1 hour in quiet contemplation, during which they cannot engage in any activities or combat. But after completing the meditation, the character gains 1 point of honor and +1 bonus to the ability of their choice until the end of the day. So in the morning, you get up, you're going to meditate, you're going to gain 1 honor and get a +1 to either your vigor, swiftness, spirit, or resilience. And your character can only benefit from meditation once per in-game week. So if you know you've got something coming up that's going to be big in the morning, do your meditation. I think it's great. And then again, take a moment to catch your breath and rest your bones. And then here is the section about how to improve. Now, we'll say that when you know about Merkborg, there is nothing more. This is pretty much exactly like the Merkborg rules. And obviously, the honor stuff with being a character that dies and they're honorable, their next character is going to be bonus. You know, you can get that bonus. It's a little bit different, but this is very much kind of the same as Merkborg. There's not going to be anything really like that's going to change that up. Okay, and so you could also get, and this kind of can change it up a little bit too. Teach me sensei right here. It's rules here for if you get someone to teach you after a period of 2d6 days has passed, a test of ability is what comes at last. The DR is 12, and it's time to try to gain a minor bonus for the ability to apply. So you can actually get a bonus to one of your abilities after that time. It's a cool little way for you to get a little bit better. And then we've got virtues. This is that same thing, kind of like a Merkborg, where you get a certain amount of virtues you can deal. You can use them to deal maximum damage. Maybe reroll a dice roll. Very cool. There's another neat thing here that gives it more of a good setting. Choice is to do a haiku. If the player can write a haiku and test Spirit DR 12, it says. If they succeed in writing a haiku, they regain 1 virtue. If they fail, they suffer a -1 penalty to all spirit rolls until the end of the day. So if you need to get more virtues, you can do that by creating a haiku. And I really like how that makes the player kind of figure out and try to do a haiku. So it says, for example, the player could be prompted to write a haiku about a particular aspect of nature or about their current emotional state. It says it could be a tool used for divination. A player could offer a haiku as a prayer to the gods, and depending on the quality of the haiku and the god's disposition, they could receive a blessing or a curse. That's just really cool. The haiku, the seppuku, the meditation, the resurrection, the dueling, and the honor, this is all stuff done right. And I'm just a big fan of it. I think they've absolutely knocked it out of the park. Optional table. Broken Bones. Here's Grim Chronicles. Just grim things. Have a powerful enemy who wants you dead at all cost. Or you're plagued by haunting visions of a dark future. Bad habits, maybe addicted. Your habit of stealing things. Your insomnia. You've got a bunch of cool tables right there. And they're going to get into some of the creatures. We've got Onis. We've got strange things. I think this is a Nu is what it's called. It's Nue. I just really like the way this looks. And again, going through a Merkborg book, the simplicity of the damage, the armor, the hit points, the morale. It's so easy. There's so little there, but it gets it done. And great descriptive write-up of what it is, it's just very precise in what it's trying to do. Look how easy it is. I mean, it takes up that whole page, but the writing is actually very small on it. So we've got bandit. We've got a whole bunch of different type of demons, monsters, water demons, and ice demons. I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see here's a skeleton Rōnin, a Kappa, Tengu. Just great. Here's that old spider lady. Fantastic stuff. Skeletal daimyo, Oni no Kusabi, Umibosu. Let's see if I can read this. Well, that's one thing I'll say. Sometimes I can't read this, and I'm looking in here to see how it's actually said. But I will tell you this. This is called Kuchisake Onna, I believe it's called. I'm going to have a link if you want to pick this book up. And on their website, they've got character sheets. They have the complete text of this game in an easy-to-read version. You can just download it for free. No art, an easy way for you to download it. And a lot of this stuff, they have even like reference sheets. They have it with color or no, easy-to-print versions of it. So I'll link to their website so you can pick this up. This isn't available on Drive to RPG. This is obviously a product that a lot of passion went into making it, and it definitely shows. More so than I think than some other Merkborg stuff that I've seen. Here we've got a huge dragon, in essence, is what it is. It's going to absolutely wreck you, of course. The Blood Witch, Death Blade, terrible fiend right there. The Iron Fist, the Nightingale. Here we've got an index. It's right before the adventure. I like how it's broken down into lore, creatures, character creation, legendary creatures, and rules. That's very helpful. And then we've got Blood Reigns over the Crimson Jungle. This is a really good adventure. When I first looked at it right here, I was like, oh my God, where do I even start? I start up here, and I guess I go here. I was a little bit confused about that. But you're going to be traveling to try to go see what's going on at this temple in this jungle. And it's just really good. When I read through it, I felt like it was kind of like not a choose your own adventure type of game, but it gave me kind of that sense as you go through it. And you're gonna have some boss battles, and I love the way that it says like boss fight for these like glistening twins right here. You're gonna get to the temple. Blood cult shamans, the masked demon clan are gonna be there, and then of course at the end the boss. Kijo, Blade of the Jungle, is going to be there. There's so much more to it. There's random encounters that you can roll up. There's these sacred seals that you can find that do special things. They are small size items, and they pretty much use the same rules as scrolls. You can occasionally roll those a random seal up on a corpse loot. But the thing I enjoyed about this was I started reading it, and then what I did was I started reading all these passages here, like which way you go. Like if you look at the map, you can see that it's got, where the heck is that map? Here it is. Again, a very abstract map right here. It tells you how many days or a half day it takes to get from one location to another. And then what I started doing is I just started reading this little fluff right here, and I just kept on reading the little description of it, and it was able to give me exactly what's going on. Of course, there might be a creature, an item in there that's more important than what it says here, but it was very easy just to, when I'm first learning how to look at this adventure, just to read this section, read that right there, read this, read that, and just keep going, and then go back and then start to break it out. I'll read that, I'll be like, okay. And I kind of read the next one, but I'll go back here and say, well, I see this. Where's that at? It gives me a good sense of like where that creature is or where this item is that they're talking about. And it just looks great. I really, at first it was a little bit intimidating, but once you start reading it, it really starts to flow. So very, very nicely done. And it's good that there's a cool, traveling adventure in it where you're going to have multiple days to get to the Scarlet Temple. And I think maybe this is what one of those seals looks like, but I'm not sure about that. And then the end, we've got, again, that great end paper. It's got everything you need. The abilities, the resurrection, seppuku, dueling, honor, virtues, meditation, combat, broken and dead, a chance to improve, resting, texts, parry, poison, reaction, morale, equipment, armor, tiers, weapons. Very, very helpful. And so, yeah, that is Ronin. It is extremely well done. I think I only found one typo. It was just where the word "the" was missing the T. But other than that, it is really clean. easier to read than some other Merc board games. I've always enjoyed kind of feudal Japan games. It's got a real cool darkness about this eclipse that has just crushed everybody's hopes. And then these monsters and Oni and everything that's come out. You're trying to survive. Whole towns have been reduced to like maybe a handful of people. Maybe they've never even seen anybody since the eclipse. Everybody either went crazy or died, whatever the case may be. So it's a survival setting with cool characters, a great looking book that really just enhances the setting. Obviously a real labor of love to put this out, and I give it big kudos. It's done a great job with a lot of character classes. I don't know what I would want to play. I'd almost have to just roll it up randomly because they're all very cool. They've got some really neat abilities, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with this. Again, this is a Merc board game where I don't see a whole bunch of longevity with it, but you could probably play it for a while. Maybe you go look at some other Merc board games and how to expand if you want to maybe try to get all these abilities. There's other games that have done some other things, and with me and my friends, we've been talking just about Merc board and how some games do, pretty much just what Merc board does. There's not much advancement of the character, and then in other games how they've tried to expand that and the pros and cons of that. So, very cool game. Highly recommended. If you want an easy game that's got a lot of cool feel of feudal Japan with this dark world, cool characters, lots of weird Oni and demons to fight, and not only that, but you've got a shogun and a power struggle there. This Brotherhood of Ronin that are trying to fight back. You've got a lot you can play with this book. So again, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. I give it high praise. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, all that business and all that jazz. I hope you've enjoyed all these videos, and I'll be back for more. Thanks.